Oh, there we go. We're live. Episode 3. This Life in Tech. Yo, what's up?
That's right.
Oh man, welcome to 2016. Shit. We're like a week behind.
Well, we had the holidays, the New Year, and then I got sick, so we had to cancel that last one.
Week bitch.
Yeah, that's what happens, being around other people that are sick. But the holiday threw us off there for a little bit. We forgot that certain other people like to celebrate. Not necessarily us, but the people that we're associated with like to celebrate. I don't need a reason to drink.
yeah. Well, you don't need a reason to drink, and I don't need religion to be smug.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. Yeah, so we had talked about the last one. We were going to talk about some of these weak predictions that people were making for 2016. What do you got going on, man? I mean, there's a lot of crazy ones out there. To me, they all just keep saying the same thing. So I guess if they keep saying it, eventually they're going to be right.
Yeah, well, it's a game of darts for some of these fuckers. Exactly, man. They just throw and hope it sticks. And I think they look back. I don't even know how good their Google Foo is, to be honest with you. You look at some of these lists, like the one I was looking at the other day. I think they just weekly Googled what was trendy in 2015.
Yeah.
And then,
did this happen? So it must happen in 2016 then.
Right? I mean, apparently they never read David Hume's philosophy of induction fallacies, but nonetheless, the first thing on my list, Dan, is IoT, and it's on my list twice.
Oh,
it's on my list twice.
Are you spelling it twice because you weren't sure Ian was going to, be able to spell IoT? If you spotted him, the I and the T.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I got to talk to that dude.
Oh, he is great, but I tell you, he still doesn't know the difference between shiv and shank. He's not sure which one's the noun and which one's the action.
Oh, I just emailed him and asked him if he's going to be around when I'm thinking about coming out to National Harbor.
We're gonna have him. We're gonna have him on the next. When you're out in National Harbor, we'll do an episode out there.
Yeah, we should do like a little
have him on there.
Little round table.
Yeah.
But IoT's on my list twice, Dan, and it's on the first time because as much as I love new technology and as much as I love embedded, low power, cool little devices that talk, the predictions that IoT is going to scale to like 8 devices per person within the next 2 years or whatever. Where's that money coming from? The last time I checked, the economy's in the fucking tank. So where's all the consumer spending power to buy all these devices and get them talking?
How many? These persons going to have 8? Wait, what do they? Well, how do they classify? One, I hate the term IoT to begin with. I think it's stupid because everything is a thing. I don't have 8 mobile devices. I got a lot of mobile devices, right? But
right,
they consider a mobile device part of IoT.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, man, 8 per person. Well, no, wait, check this out. If you do the math, it's basically 8 per person, but that's 6 billion people. Like, I don't think there's 6 billion people in the world right now, man, that have access to technology.
No.
I mean, the first world nations. Anyway, man, that was going to go down a fucking rabbit hole. So then the second part of it. Well, look, let me summarize that real quick for our fucking fans. If I'm going to have in the next 2 to 5 years 8 devices per person, and that population is 6 billion, the economy is going to have to change. Those graphs don't line up. You know what I mean? They should be going like that, but they're going like this. It doesn't make any fucking sense. So then, of course, the other thing that doesn't make any sense is this proliferation of how we're going to secure IoT. Well, wait. First of all, dummy, if I can't buy 8 devices per person because the economy still sucks, what are you securing? Second of all, not that it's a bad thing to think about it ahead of time. Don't get me wrong. I totally like that part of it, right? Let's start talking about it before we deploy the shit. But people.
But who's listening? Who's listening?
I don't know, man. I'm listening to myself talk right now. But as much as you want to think ahead, then why don't you think about how IoT is novel? It is novel because of its topology. The security stuff that people are talking about is the stuff that we've been talking about for 70 years. Well, we know how to do that. We know it doesn't work. So why are you still talking about it? The predictions are insane. That's my first one.
Yeah. So let's go down that list a little bit. Let's see. All right. Let's say I've got a phone.
Mm-hmm.
All right. There's one. We already have that. Okay. Are they considering a laptop a thing? I consider that still a thing.
No,
No.
because
All right.
it's not embedded in low power.
Oh, okay. So that's how they're okay. So all right, a phone. How about your cable modem? If you're on Comcast, dude, that's pretty dangerous because everyone's accessing your cable modem with that free Xfinity Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Do they consider that a thing?
No.
Oh, I would, because that thing needs to be secured.
Well, yeah. I mean, it needs to be secured, but think about things like the embedded processors in refrigerators.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's baby cams, right? Think about how many people having babies. Almost everyone's getting a baby cam. So, all right, there's two. And if we're gonna, are they taking per person or per household?
Per person.
Oh, dude, that's so. Let's say that's 16 in a house. All right. So I'm trying to figure out how. I mean, I don't have. Well, I do have a smart watch, but it's not a Apple Watch. It's not an Android one. It's a Meta Watch, right? But still, it's got some data on there. All right. So let's go down my list: phone, a tablet, a watch.
If you had a Nest controller for your HVAC.
No, I don't. No, I don't have that. But I'm just trying to figure out how many I got. And I don't use a ton of mobile devices. I mean, I've got a bunch, but not all of them are active all the time. It's just when we're testing. And I've got a couple IP cams, so I got 5. Right. And I've got a lot. Yeah. I feel like I've got a lot.
Yeah,
5. I can't think. I'm not about to get a smart fucking coffee maker. I like my coffee maker dumb. Just make coffee when I want it. And I don't necessarily want it every day at 5 a.m. And if that coffee sits around for too long, I don't like it.
Yeah, it tastes like shit.
Yeah. So I'm not going to have it brew at 5.
You wouldn't be down with an embedded controller in your door lock on your front door?
I have a couple smart locks. I haven't deployed them yet. But the thing is about the smart lock, for me, the lock is only to keep the honest people out. If a criminal wants to get in, they're going to bust the window to get into my house. They're not going through the door. Right. That's just mainly to prevent the person that isn't smart enough to throw something through my window. I think it makes other people feel safe. I mean, it's a step, but I haven't deployed it yet. Mainly just because I just don't like. I mean, to me, a key is not secure anyway. I'm more secure when I'm home than I am when I'm not, because someone can easily get in. If I'm home, good luck. Because if I hear that window crashing, I'm grabbing my piece right next to the bed. First thing I'm doing is I'm spraying.
Wait, check this out. Check this out. I got a great story for you. Earlier this week, I'm working from my home office here, right? And Marcia had taken the baby with the babysitter to Disney, right?
Right.
And I'm sitting here working, and all of a sudden I hear like some cabinets closing. And I'm like, is that goddamn dog doing something? And I look to my left, and the dog's laying beside me, sleeping on the floor, right? So, dude, I go into like ninja mode, and I creep out into the living room, getting ready
You're very stealth-like.
Yeah, I know, right? And you know who's standing there? My wife. I'm like, what the fuck? You don't announce that you're home? You're going to make me have a heart attack. And so she starts telling me that I'm full of shit, that nobody's ever going to break into our house, right? And I'm like,
I got enemies. People don't like me.
I'm like, then you know what? If that's your rationale, why don't we leave the doors unlocked all the time? Right? And she's like, fuck you, I will. And we're talking about this, and all of a sudden I hear somebody walking behind me. Check this out, man. So that you know how this goes. Your baby falls asleep, you leave him in the car seat. You don't want to take him out and wake him up. So Marcia had left the baby in the car seat outside while she came in and got some water, right? And to do that, she left the garage door open. And of course, our garage is attached, so you have the interior door, and that's open also. The fucking babysitter had walked in.
Oh, nice.
Because she forgot something in the car, and she wanted to tell Marcia that she needed to get in the car, right?
Right.
But she just snuck up on us, both of us. Right as Marcia said, nobody wants to break into this house.
Yep.
And I turn around, I'm like, see, this is what I'm talking about. People just walk in. What are you doing? Anyway, man.
As we're talking about that, and in case you didn't see it, that says Beretta.
Not the fucking detective.
Yeah. So I don't have. So even if I add that door lock, it's only for the front door. I'm not doing it through everywhere in the house. I just care about that.
Right.
And that's only mainly for convenience. Mainly because, well, convenience. I'm more secure when I'm home than I am when I'm not. At
Yep.
least, so. All right. So
what's your first one, bro?
all right. So while I've enjoyed some of his classes, and I talked about this before, Eric Cole, some of his predictions I think are just silly, is probably the most polite thing I could say, because I don't think they're really predictions what he's doing. He's making statements. So this one, he's saying prediction number 1. I could actually probably do all of my predictions just from his. While I think Eric is I think he's a smart guy, and I've taken some of his SANS classes back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's pretty. I think he's a good teacher. In terms of that, in terms of explaining how people do this, but I think actually, I gotta say, I hope he's not the one that came up with these predictions. I think they're pretty bad. So his first prediction is insider threat. Organizations will start to build out insider threat programs to monitor and proactively deal with threats inside the organization. People will recognize that there is a big difference between a malicious insider and an accidental insider. I heard this like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
This is saying nothing that I think this has been on someone's prediction for the last 10 years. This is not, I consider everyone a threat. As a CSO for Silent Circle, everything is a threat.
Well, and it's that thinking that gave us DLP, egress filtering, identity management, so forth and so on. So again, man, it sounds to me like some fool just Googled what was hip, and they're throwing it against the wall and see if it sticks this year. I mean, insider threat. Last year we had how many whistleblowers, including Edward Snowden?
My. Well, that was a couple of years ago, but point taken. No, everything is a threat. I don't know, when an organization is going to start to build out insider threat protection. I mean, again, DLP, endpoint protection. I've always had, as far as I can remember, I don't remember any system since I've been involved in that didn't have some type of access control, passwords to get in there. I mean, this is not new. This is not innovative. I want to hear a real prediction. I want someone to come out and say, there will be remote executable code that will launch and be able to happen on a mobile phone that actually occurs, that gave them access and exfiltrated data that was in the enterprise, in that brick and mortar or cloud infrastructure that happened from a mobile phone. I want someone to come out and say that. I don't think it's going to happen this year. I think we're a ways away from that to happen. I think a mobile device has many protections that we don't have in the brick and mortar infrastructure of our enterprise. But I want someone to say, I'm going to be able to utilize some remote executable exploit on that mobile phone that allowed me to exfiltrate enterprise data that was in the enterprise environment, not like the email. No, I want someone to predict that. And if it happens, I'll be there. I'm not predicting that for this year. I don't think we're anywhere close to it.
I think you just kind of did, man.
No, it's not happening. Actually, I'll say it won't happen this year. I will go. That is what I'm predicting. That will not happen in 2016.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up, man. So the second one on my list is I saw a couple people have this, that 2016 will be the year that passwords finally go away.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
Now wait, so check this out.
Was that you that said that?
No. Well, this is interesting to me, man. This tells me that the people that make those predictions have no business sense. And here's what I mean by that. Whilst I may agree that it's a phenomenal idea to get rid of passwords and replace them with a better technology, okay? As much as I may think that some of the technologies that are alternatives that exist are good, here's what you have to keep track of. How many enterprise users are there just in the US? I mean, there's millions, right?
Well, we have 300 million people. So I would say 98% of those people work for an enterprise.
Right. Okay. How many people do we know that still kind of fumble around using a computer? And what I mean by that is we're just now getting all
that are humans. I mean, I know some orangutans that are still having some problems, but I don't know of any human fumbling around a computer at this point.
We're not
I don't know it, but I'm not in California.
Leave Ian out of this, man.
Even that knuckle tracker can use a computer.
My point is that our user base, we're finally just getting trained to do certain things, right? And our technology matches that. So now all of a sudden you think you're going to replace all that, and who's paying for it? I mean, I'll make a prediction based on that prediction.
All right. Let's hear your prediction.
I'll predict that if Trump becomes president, if we have a better chance of taking all the money that goes into the military efforts overseas and putting that into providing solar for every residential commercial real estate in the US, then we do. That's going to happen before we get rid of passwords in 2016.
Actually, so I think that's our other. That's our really the other prediction. Passwords will still be around in 2016. They're not going anywhere.
Nope,
just not happening.
No, the human race isn't ready for it yet, man.
No, I agree.
As much as I may want it to, right? I think we agree with that.
Think how easy it really would be to get rid of passwords but the place where we use passwords would have to implement it. I mean,
right.
Multi-factor authentication, that Google Authenticator is pretty much available to everyone. We all have phones.
Mm-hmm.
Think how easy our phone could be to use that password. Because I don't know anyone today, because my dad just got a smartphone. So I think he was the last person to get a smartphone. So he finally just got one. So now he could even use multi-factor authentication to things like your bank. Right. But I will even go so far as this, as with that, I will one up myself with saying that passwords will still be here 2016. Let's say there's 10 major banks. I believe that all 10 of them will not enforce multi-factor authentication for people utilizing online banking in 2016.
Ooh, I think you're going to be.
It will not be enforced. It may be available, but it will not be enforced.
Right.
Let's see if we can name the 10. Citibank, Wells Fargo, PNC.
Just Bank of America?
Bank of America, SunTrust, TD Bank, HSBC. Trying to think of some other banks that are around me.
Don't ask me, man. I use credit.
That's 7. Let's go credit unions. Navy Federal Credit Union. There's 8. I can't think of 2 others.
Not major. Little mom and pop dinky one, sure. But
there's got to be some others.
Like you guys don't have Bank of the West, right?
No Bank of the West. Let's just do a quick. I need 2 more banks. So major banks. Thank goodness for Google. Sometimes I already said SunTrust.
Yes. You said HSBC.
Oh, U.S. Bank. U.S. Bank is pretty big. All right, there's 9.
You said Wells. We said Bank of America. TD.
I said SunTrust.
Yep, twice now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's major ones, though.
Yeah. I'm just. Chase. There's our 10th. There's our 10 banks. None of those 10 will enforce multi-factor authentication in 2016, leading to more theft of funds.
Yeah.
There's our 10. We'll review this shit at the end of the year. I guarantee that these 10 banks will still not have enforced it. I will check out all 10 if I have to open up a bank account in all 10 of them.
Do you think they'll all have it available?
No. I think if we were to add on to that a little bit, I think 3 of them will have it available. I don't know. I haven't checked them, but I would say 3.
I mean, it's easy to check, but
yeah.
Well, so sit back and imagine being in that boardroom and trying to come up with the incentive to spend the money to put that infrastructure in place for that many users.
They wouldn't do it anyway because they're going to say, well, the grandmom down the street, she still only has Internet Explorer 8, so we're still going to keep SSL version 3.
Right.
We're not getting rid of SSL version 3 because of grandma. So grandma isn't going to use that multi-factor. So we're not going to do it. We're not going to enforce it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because look at the other side. So if grandma gets funds stolen or her identity stolen through this transaction, what culpability really, even financially, does the bank even
Zero.
have? Zero.
Nothing. Because what do they bump up the protection to 250,000, something like that?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
There's not many people that have $250,000 cash in any one bank account today, because we all know. Because before it was like 150K. All right.
Like that.
So we've now made a couple of predictions. We'll probably have to go back through and rewrite these back down. But
Now, what do you got?
All right. So I'm gonna go. I'm going after Eric again.
Oh.
Because his other prediction is enterprises are now going to start paying attention to endpoint protection. I'm not joking. He actually says finally endpoint protection. I want to get the full one because he's got a bunch. Yeah, this is prediction number 7. Organizations will recognize that endpoint security is critical to data protection. As more services migrate to the cloud, the endpoint is often the weakest link and the target of attacks. Laptops today are portable servers and contain large amounts of information that make them prime attack vector. This is one of his predictions for 2016. I thought when I first read this was 2002. I'm just putting that out there because I do believe that there are major companies out there that their whole business is based on endpoint protection. McAfee, Symantec, Trend Micro, Kaspersky, IBM has bought a significant amount in it. Even Microsoft has invested quite heavily into it. Apple has invested quite heavily into their own endpoint protection. I mean, the list just goes on. Even now, CrowdStrike is focusing a lot on endpoint protection. You take a look at some of the innovative companies that are out there right now that are winning awards. CrowdStrike, endpoint. I think it's called Falcon or something like that for them. Right. Then you've got the other part of that original tandem there with George Kurtz and Stuart McClure from the Foundstone days. Stuart's got a company called Cylance that's winning awards all over the place. And it's pretty legit product. I like it. I dig it. I wish it worked on more, Linux distros. Because I think, Linux is, they're all just as vulnerable, right? But I don't know what Eric is thinking here with this. Endpoint protection has been around for a long time. That's what everyone's been focusing on.
Well, and so to add to that, because I agree. Here's what I find flawed about that kind of a prediction. And I find interesting about the way the market is shifting towards those companies. And I'm not shitting on them. We know people that work at all those companies. I love their products. They're not bad, but check this out. Watch what the criminals do. Like when I did credit card security, right? You could clearly see what happened. There was a clear transition when people became aware of how to lock down a point of sale system so that you couldn't wedge it. Right? You couldn't get them at swipe, the transactions at swipe, or you couldn't get them off the POS. What happened? Those criminals started attacking the processors like Heartland. Well,
Yep.
Think about it. At least I worked in the quick service vertical. So on average, there's like 100 to 200 transactions a day, max per store. That's dick.
Right.
That's dick. That's dick, right? But think about, I had several thousand locations that all sent those transactions to the same processor, right? So now it's 200 times 2,000. So if you're a criminal, it's risk versus reward, just like it is for us in business, right? We're just legitimate criminals, really, if you think about it this way. Where would you put your time and money into? Because if you're going to get caught, do you want to get caught for 200 or 200,000? I'd rather get caught for 200,000. That's a better risk to reward ratio. And that's what the attackers did. They started attacking the processors. So why?
Yeah.
It's just, you're not following. It's like the conversation about IoT and the economy. You're missing a huge variable that has an impact on the way this trend's going to continue to move. That's my opinion.
Yep. So, yeah, I agree with that. This is here's another one of my predictions. A major breach is going to happen at a major corporation, and finally, The CISO will not be fired for it. Because it's not the CISO's fault in a lot of these cases. They're going to find out the real reason why that particular X failed, and hopefully this time it'll be because of the CIO, and the CIO gets fired because they're the ones that authorized it and went above the head of the chief security officer.
That's an interesting prediction, man. Because I agree with the philosophy behind it. Well, because here's the thing. Look, let's assume that a CSO in part is there to serve as the effigy that gets burned when something goes wrong. Okay? If that's true, which history says it is, then also why wouldn't you kick out the vendor that provided you that infrastructure? Because their shit sucked.
Yep. Well, which is great, because this is one of Kaspersky's predictions. This is a really good prediction, I think, for them, and it's quite ironic that it's a 2016 prediction that attacks are going to happen on security vendors themselves because their asses got owned earlier in 2015.
We've talked about this for a long time, man. I've never understood the propensity for people to say, you know what, we have these assets, right? Our infrastructure, and we have these vulnerabilities. So I got a bright idea. Let's go buy more assets and pack them around the assets that are vulnerable and pretend like they're not fucking computing devices and won't have vulnerabilities themselves. You just modified your attack surface, dummy. What?
As our friend John Callis likes to do quite a bit. Yeah. Yep. I love that. It's just like, it's a check mark. Yep, you're right. Yeah. So this is the thing. So it's not just here at Silent Circle, because some certain things happens. But the role of the CISO is to advise, is to counsel, to identify the risks, to provide that threat modeling, and it is up to the business owner to agree or disagree, or not necessarily agree or disagree, but to accept or to not accept that risk. And if it's not acceptable to them, more countermeasures are put in place, or they go down a different path. So why is a CISO at fault if they have advised on that course of action not to do it? But the CIO is the one that holds, in most organizations, they're the one that holds the money. And if they want to go down a path, they go down it, regardless of what the CISO says. So I hope that in this case, my prediction is that in 2016, there will be a breach. The CISO won't get fired, and they're going to can that candy-ass CIO.
Ooh, fighting words, son. Shots fired.
Hey, we want real. We say we're going to come up with real predictions. We got real predictions. Let's see if it happens, man. I'm there with you. I don't understand why, unless there's some dereliction of duty or incompetence on the CSO's part in his counseling or his advice. I mean, why is that the person that gets held? You might as well fire Bob in accounting. It's just as meaningful. I mean, right. You're right. I mean,
if you're just looking for somebody to string up, I mean, why don't you pick somebody that's meaningless? No offense to Bob in accounting, right? But comparatively, Bob's more replaceable. He should be.
Right. Well, this is the thing. If all of the security experts that are out there all say this, it's not a matter of if you're going to be breached, it's when. Or there's only two types of companies out there: those that know they have been breached and those that don't know they have been breached. Why then is the CISO the one at fault? We know this is going to happen. We know that it's a losing game. It's going to occur. So I think the better way of judging these things is, was the CISO negligent? Did they have the proper resources to do this? In a lot of cases, they don't. They're not the ones with the budget. They have to rely on someone else's budget and other organizations to deploy whatever action is there to manage that. Or in a lot of times, they have to rely on other organizations actually doing the right thing. And how often does that happen? Because sometimes they don't even know what the right thing is.
Right. All right, man. I got one last prediction for myself. You ready for this one? And this is my prediction. I haven't read this anywhere. So, especially for the last year, one of the hot technologies to talk about and make other predictions about, non-security related predictions, is AI and machine learning. And I don't see a lot of people, even when you look at the academic literature, there's not a lot going on around not that people look at how AI and machine learning can help security, right? What it can do for us. Not a lot of people are looking at it as an asset, and how do you deal with systems that, let's say, are semi-sentient, or what the fuck do you do with a sentient system? It becomes an asset for a business, right? And I don't mean like ownership. I mean it's an employee. How are you going to deal with it though? Because it's not a human, right? I don't know if the same rules apply anymore. In fact, I don't think they do. I think we're going to get in 2016 a system that is well advanced, not fully sentient, but far down the road in its capabilities, and something's bad going to happen. It's not going to go crazy. Something bad is going to happen to it, and I think we're going to wake up as a industry and say, "Oh shit, now what?"
Yeah, I think you might have something there, because there's that. What was it in Singapore where they have the almost lifelike looking semi-sentient thing being used in transport security.
Yeah,
greeting people. Right,
yeah.
It's taking a look at facial recognition to determine whether or not the possibilities of the way in which you are acting is to whether or not you've got something to hide.
There's actually a lot of it. Like one of the systems I've been studying lately. Do you remember Watson, the IBM system that went on Jeopardy?
Yeah.
Okay. That technology got spun into a product that's used in medical diagnostics that physicians and nurses can query or input symptoms of a patient, and the machine learning will output probable diagnoses. And this thing is well over 95% accurate. It's fucking amazing, right? It doesn't replace humans, but all right, now check this out. At the same time, for a while now, we've had this trend of pushing for more digital health records. Do you think maybe that thing might wake up one day and be like, hey, I got access to these shares of data. Maybe I should go look this up and I can have a more accurate prediction. What are you going to do then? Dude, I'm not saying it's bad. It might be nice for that system to do that. But if you weren't expecting it and it just does it.
Yeah, because it feels like, hey, I need to be able to help this person. And it does, it's an invasion of privacy. It had no idea.
So imagine that these systems are getting built with like Asimov's 3 laws, right? Do no harm, always help humans. Well, now you have a conflict in directive because you're supposed to help humans. Your job is to diagnose health issues, but you're not allowed to access this data that could help you do it better. And I mean, as a human, you can make a choice, right? Will this machine be able to make a choice? How will it do? How do you tell it not to do that?
Right.
Yeah, man. I think something like that's going to blow up this year.
That's good. All right, so let's review our real predictions. We had the top 10 banks will not enforce or make mandatory multi-factor authentication in 2016. Passwords will still be used in 2016. There was 2. The CIO is going to get fired after the breach, and it won't be the CISO.
Yep. And then the AI machine learning system will get not just breached, blown the fuck up.
Yeah. There's 4. I thought we had another one in there. Did we miss one?
Those were our original ones. We kind of riffed off some of the early ones, like with IoT and those trends, endpoint security.
Oh yeah, we were making fun of those because they basically didn't have any real prediction. I do agree with
nonsense.
I do agree with Kaspersky that that you're going to see more attacks going after security vendors because again, they have vulnerabilities. Also, what are they doing to protect themselves?
Right. So, I mean, it's hardware and software, just like any other computing system in the infrastructure. It's an asset. I mean, it's on the same ledger.
In some cases, it adds to the attack surface. If I want to, reduce the overall risk to an organization, I'm going to go after things that are trying to decrease the risk of that organization. So the things that are supplying the countermeasures. So why not? That's what I would do.
And think about it logically. If you look at it from like a traffic flow pattern, the security infrastructure is usually the first stuff that the traffic hits anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
So why try to bypass it? Just attack the shit out of it.
That's right. You got it.
Sweet.
All right. Well, I think episode 3's in the bag. We killed our 2016 predictions. I think we're going to be 100% accurate, and they weren't vague. We were very specific, unlike these others. They are very vague, and they just regurgitate the same things that's been going on for 10 years or more.
Yeah. Well, look out, people. We're on the case now. We're coming up with predictions. We're looking at yours. We're not going to stand for no nonsense.
Sorry, not sorry.
Well, I'm not even remotely sorry.
Yeah. I mean, let's start doing some things that actually provide value and increase the knowledge and capabilities of those that are looking to try to get in this industry. So.
Well, it's like some of our friends are so fond of saying, what we need to do is stop looking at where the puck is at and looking where it's going to go.
Does that mean you're gonna because you said it? He also gets another punch.
Yep.
That was great because you didn't say who had to say it.
Yeah. Dude, when I emailed him this morning and said, "Hey man, I'm thinking about coming out. You're going to be there because I want to make sure we have time to meet." The first sentence he typed in his reply was, "Yes, as long as you don't show up and kick me in the nads."
Well, good. So you can punch him in the nads. He just said kick.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I can pay some bum on the street to come in and do it. He didn't say that wasn't allowed.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Episode 3 in the can. Good work. I like these predictions. We got a nice year ahead of us, and let's see what's up.
Awesome. All right. Until next time.
Till next time. Later, everybody.